quick tutorial, just kind of the start of the Dunny project. Hopefully you guys have gotten started with just getting acclimated to Maya with the different screens by hitting spacebar and basically Option or the Alt key with right mouse to zoom in and out, and middle to oscillate, and if you're in perspective, again, the Option or Alt left mouse button. So these are really key on moving around that space. So before we get started with any modeling project, you always want to have really good research what you're doing. It's really difficult to model in the first place, but not knowing what you're going to work on would make it even more challenging. So always make sure you know how to put reference or images in there is very helpful with proportions and so forth. So it's a little bit of cheating to get your proportions versus like drawing from still life and so forth, where you're really just working from eye. This we actually will use images to kind of help us in that process. So I'm going to jump over to Photoshop. So I want to show you basically two images that I grabbed from the internet. Again, this is just for educational purposes, but just to kind of get us to block out what that is. So this is just a plain template one. See, I had to cut off the ear, and then I copy and pasted that over here, so you can see somewhat matching that up just so we can have as we start modeling this out. Again, this is by no means the final product. So you can see I'm just going to merge this down so it's all on one slide. So I go ahead and I know you guys are probably more efficient with Photoshop, but if you don't know how to merge stuff down in layers, but we do have two layers. We have the bottom and the top. And what we want to do is make sure that these are aligned. So when we put them into Maya, that they're perfectly aligned. And this is way before you even start getting into Maya, but you want to make sure your images are prepped for scale. So if you don't know, we have rulers up here. Really quickly, I'll show you how to turn on the ruler. So you're like, where the heck are my rulers in Photoshop? So these are the first things that you would do, is just go ahead and get your rulers on. Okay, so we're going to use probably this guy as our main character to scale up. So we want our front, side, and everything all scaled up. So we're just going to put some guidelines, and basically you left mouse button click on in a ruler area here. Just pull it down to the bottom of the neck, down here to kind of the groin area, and then the very bottom of the feet. And then I'm also going to do maybe a couple more bottom of the hand and maybe the top of the head. Those are probably good indicators of where we are. All right, and I may put one in the center here. All right, so what we're going to do is kind of turn that on off and use that as a guiding point. We're going to go down to our layer one. Just going to kind of pull that into the center. And you can see this is off. Our ear is off by a little bit, and also our foot. So I'm going to do Command T or Apple T, depending on what kind of keyboard, or if you're in a PC mode or Mac, or even Linux. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, scale it up. I'll hit return, and then scooch this down. You can either do it with a mouse or with the arrow key to do micro jumps. So it's a little bit small, so I'm just going to go ahead. I think you may want to hit Shift or Alt to keep it in proportion. Is helpful. You don't want that to start getting fatter or skinnier. So here we go. So you can see that's the bottom of the foot. So probably the bottom foot is probably midpoint. We start to look at our groin. This is a little bit low. My hand is a little bit low, but there is a distortion of the camera. So always know that there is distortion in the camera. Even the bottom of our lip here is different. I'm going to turn this back on so you can see bottom of our lip, our chin is there. We look here. That's kind of off. we've got also the top of the head is way off here too. So I may just go ahead and scale this up because it definitely is out of whack, and this is not always perfect the way you do front and side. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the ears up and out of the way. Top of my head is there. Now that her chin is way off, so I'm actually going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, it's actually Option to keep your constraint on. So I think I'm really just kind of concerned where my chin and my top of my head is going to be. So let's do that again. All right, so that's way off. That's way off. All right. So again, you the further back you get, and the farther shot that you get with a form or a character or whatever, these distortions of your lens won't be as bad. Sight isn't as important. We just want to make sure we kind of echo the silhouette. So we're going to get as close as possible, but by no means are we even close with that chin. So I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to go back and forth too many times. What we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this PSD, so if we ever need to get back to this file, and really quickly I'm going to say a PSD at the top here, and then I'm going to turn it off and save another PSD. So we'll have two images here, front and back. One of the things I will also do with our background, I'm going to go ahead and make this a square image. That may help it also. So let's go into our image here, which is, I'm just going to do 7.5.